you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're joining me from. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Accept my greeting according to your time zone. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You can be among the first to receive it. Then go to the comment section at all time. Leave your comment, drop your contribution. If you have suggestions, make it out there. If you have any criticism, put it down on the comment section. It will make us to get better, presenting you a better program.
There is no smoke without fire. On my own side, I'm in my 60s. People have not learned to speak the truth in Nigeria. What's caused this particular issue is the problem. A lot of people have said so many things, and they are not on the headline. And some people have said something, only one is on the headline. So my take is, we have to go back and ask ourselves questions. Are we doing the right thing? Are the right people at the right place? Because this is not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria now is for everyone to keep quiet, pray and wait for the court case to finish.
Not night. I'm a fan of P2B. So until he comes out and tells us that he's the one that said it or he's not the one, that is all. So I cannot say any other thing. I'm waiting for him to say yes or no to the allegation.
Nigeria is a religious country. And whatever you are doing, you have to balance it, both Christian and Muslim. The issue of religious war arose based on this administration. Because if you look at this administration critically, you understand it to me that the president, the senate president, the speaker, the chief justice of the federation, and most appointments are going one-sided or one religion. You understand? And that alone is a religious war. You understand? That alone is a religious war. So when you don't balance things, you think, it causes people to suspecting that are we still operating balanced system in this country? You understand? So the issue of maybe this alleged of a video of a thing that P2B was conversing with Oyedepo that this is a religious war or so-called religious war. That's already a religious war already. I'm telling you the gospel truth. That's already a religious war already. So if I'm the hem of affair, I will look at it, Nigeria as a religious sentiment. Sentimental talking, we know Nigeria is a religious country. And if you are appointing based on sentiments, based on religious bigotry, then that means I'm causing the war. You understand? So no country survive religious war. So if APC, for instance, now APC that pick a president candidate, a Muslim, they advise a Muslim. You understand? And they are pushing forward for Senate President a Muslim. Is that a religious war, my brother? Is that a religious war? So let you be told, every Tom and Harry, that for us to move on this country, we should rise above board. We should rise above sentiment and put all this aside.
Those who provide communication facility gadgets have a right, to store information. The information passes through them. But it is different from you have this information, then you dispose it to people that the information should not go to. It's like somebody goes to the hospital and then the medical doctor discloses to people, this man has cancer, this woman has this one is this man has that, so it's a different thing. There should be a measure of confidentiality. And by the way, Bishop Oyedepo has said that he did not campaign for any politician, whether Tinubu or Obi or whoever. He has denied, and then the Obi Presidential Campaign Committee said that the conversation was taken out of context and that it was manipulated. They have said that the whole thing is a fake. Actually, from the very way that these things are going, it could endanger our democracy, even our communication. Because assuming you have a good business deal, and you are discussing it with somebody, the person who your partner, and the National Communication Commission has that conversation, or even MTN has that conversation, and they leak it to the public. Is a very unfair thing.
The most respected place now in Nigeria is the judiciary. What will this case now bring food on the table of people? So anything that can bring crisis, people should try and avoid it and leave it. This is not what we are looking for. Those who are putting it don't have anything to put on their papers. There are a lot of things you need to put on. Let them go and bring the results and put on the papers. Let us see. Bring the results of each of the states, local governments and all the rest. Put it on the papers. Let us see. You are talking about leakage, which is not reality until proven to be reality.
No, like I said, the party has denied it. Labour Party has denied it. The Presidential Campaign Committee has already denied it. You know, so like I said before, they said that the communication, the conversation was taken out of context. I said that before. So, but then we don't know, because anything happens in politics. Anything happens in politics. People can use anything against you. You know, from what we know during the campaigns, Obi couldn't have gone religious. He couldn't have gone religious, from what you know. And even Tinubu, Atiku, didn't go religious. Even though there was a time he said that Northerners should not vote for Southerners, but then that wasn't religious. So nobody brings in religion into politics and survives it, and Obi didn't. Because I listened to most of the things he said, and most of the things that his people were saying, even his campaign DG and the chairman of his party and so on and so on. Nobody mentioned anything religious.
We are practicing democracy. Are we truly democratic in nature? The way we are pushing democracy? Democracy is the government of the people, for the people and by the people. Now, the way the manner the INEC conducted the election, the umpire, the INEC umpire conducted the election, is very. We saw a sinister move in the whole arrangement. You understand? Senate election was uploaded. The House of Reps election, this was uploaded. That presidency in question was not uploaded. You and I know that there's something like a sinister move in the whole arrangement. So this is not democracy at all. If you want to protect democracy, let people choose who lead them. Not you electing people or certain people on their behalf. Allow people to choose. Now we're going to court. We hear the case. Court now decide who. And some people that are deciding who lead them. Something you said the guideline to follow it to the last lecture. Why are you changing game in the middle of the game? You're changing the guideline in the middle of the distance. So, everybody should be sincere in this country for to move forward. Most of our elites are going outside the country, go to Europe and America. They are seeing what is happening there. How advanced they are in terms of their thinking, in their this. Not being tribe men. When I say tribe men, means people are bringing religiosity and tribes that we are seeing in this country. So, what I'm trying to say is that democracy is not functioning, or it's not truly practiced in Nigeria. You know, because of due to our sentiments. Let me tell you, my brother, you see religion and ethnicity is operating in this country up to today. Until we'll be able to wash out this thing, we'll keep on dragging our foot, hoping that we are moving forward.
I still repeat that this is not even a problem for Nigeria. It is not a problem for Nigeria. We are professors who collected the results, saw what happened and gave what is causing the problems today. Professors who are training our children. Nobody has mentioned the name of one professor of any state, of any collection center about the election. And you are talking about, these are the ripples of that particular issue. These are the ripples. So let us go back to the issue that brought about all these discussions.
Just as I said, I want to hear from them before I make my comments. I can't actually say anything. Two of them, because going to that extent is very dangerous. So I'll hear from them. There are two men I respect in this country. So until I hear from them, before I now make my comments. That's my one. But I understand what you are saying. You understand? Number one, Muslim tickets fundamentally is wrong. You understand? So, but I'm not saying what they said it or they not until I hear from them.
What I'm trying to say is this. What brought about it? What are they looking for? Are you looking for phone leakages, or are you looking for the correct result of the election, or are you looking for the malpractices? Which one is going to solve Nigerians' problem? This leakage? You are a youth. I say I'm going to my 70. This is not our problem. Our problem is, let's get things right. This leakage, if you say it's Oyedebo this and it ends there now, does it employ people? Does it create jobs? Does it make this fuel subsidy to be... I don't understand. This is not the issue. The issue is going back. Who are your rulers? What did they do that brought about this? They are looking at other people's earnings, and people are also watching them. That is what is happening. It's not an issue.
Let me say this. Obi didn't say that Nigerians should take back their country in a church. He was addressing the youth of the country. It was not in a church house. It wasn't in any church. When he said it in the course of his campaign, when he was addressing the youth. That was when he made that statement. But then, the Anambra politics is different from national politics. I don't know what transpired when he was governor in Anambra. But then, anybody can campaign anywhere. If you're a politician, you want to campaign for presence, for the office of the president or whatever, you have the right to campaign whether in the church or in the mosque or in an open place. But then, we didn't know from what we saw. We didn't see Obi going to churches to campaign. He visited churches, yes, he visited churches. And don't forget that the electorate make up the churches. The churches make up the electorate. So it doesn't matter where anybody campaigned.
Yeah, also the presidential candidate of the Labour Party has said the leaked conversation with the founder and the general overseer of Living Faith Church, aka Winners Chapel, was doctored and completely taken out of context and distorted in a desperate attempt to rope him and have him prosecuted. Media aide to Peter Obi, Valentine Obi says that there has been a plot to search and review all Obi's calls in the last 3 years with a view to seeing if he mentioned interim government or anything that will make All Progressive Congress prosecute him for treason and if they take over. According to him, the badly distorted leaked conversation with Bishop Oyedepo is the latest antics in effort to nail his principal. In the audio that has since gone viral on social media, Obi was heard appealing to Oyedepo to help mobilize Christian voters ahead of the election, especially those in the north-central states of Kwara, Kogi, and Niger, declaring that the election was a religious war. Meanwhile, the Obi-Dati Presidential Campaign Council has also dismissed the leaked audio, describing it as deep-fake audio file aimed at promoting religious tension in the country. In a statement jointly issued by head Obi-Dati Media, Dironi Fade, and the chief spokesperson of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, Yunus Atanko, it's alleged that the APC was behind the leaked audio. So there are a couple of stories. Dr. Bate, I'm sure you want to jump on this then.
Well, number one, the election is over. Well, apart from the supplementary elections on April 15 in certain constituencies that have not yet been concluded. The post-election phase has begun. Cases are in court. We have over 100 cases already in the various tribunals. There will probably be more. The judiciary has provided a list of judges that will be involved in this. What is important is that, look, Nigerians should learn not to continue to heat up the polity. The cases that are in court will be determined according to the law. And that is why we keep calling on the judiciary to ensure that justice is done and that all parties concerned should respect the outcome of the ruling by the various courts. There is room for appeal. What is disturbing is what happened, this last weekend about allegations of a leaked audio of a private conversation between Mr. Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, and Bishop David Oyedepo of the Living Faith, Church, the Winners Chapel. Well, you can't blame the Labour Party for saying that, look, it looks like there is an attempt to monitor all the conversations held on Mr. Peter Obi's phone in the last 1 year as an attempt to set him up for one reason or the other. And specifically in one of the statements that was issued, the National Communications Commission was mentioned in this regard. I think that the NCC, in order to lower tension in the country, will need to come out and say that, look, this is not true. It's also important to note that, this could generate fear within the community with people thinking their phone conversations are no longer safe. Because if you look at the content there, the allegation is that, Mr. Peter Obi was using religion, was mobilizing on the basis of religion. Well, isn't it the case that almost every candidate tried to use whatever they have to their own advantage? After all, in the All Progressives Congress, the issue was about Muslim ticket and the fact that, the party was running and appealing to the Muslim community. Okay, even if Mr. Peter Obi appealed to his own, Christian community, how is that an offense as long as, no law has been violated in that regard? And what is even more important is that Bishop Oyedepo has come forward, has issued a statement to say that he was not involved in any partisan politics and that he had no affiliation with any, political party. But as, a man of the cloth, as a religious leader, it was within his province, within his responsibility to pray for, anybody that approaches him. And in that audio, if you listen to it very well, he kept saying, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus. So, I don't see how that is a problem, because even if it was a Muslim that had come to him, he would still give him hope, which is in line with Christian eschatology. He will still encourage the person. So, but, the election's over. I think we should just focus on the judicial process and not heat up the polity in any way. All of that, back and forth between APC spokespersons, Labour Party spokespersons. Look, these spokespersons should find something else to do. The campaign is over. Earlier on we were talking about inauguration, new government, and the cases in court. So if people still have some energy amongst them to cause, conflict, no. We do not want conflict in Nigeria. Elections should not be war. Everybody should know when to cut it off. And Mr. Peter Obi himself has said, look, in seeking what he calls the mandate, he will go through legal and constitutional process. And that's what is important, in my view.
Right. A couple of things. And like you said, rightly, in reaction to the message, because this went viral over the weekend, there were many reactions. The APC was, fighting and saying, yes, this is it, pushing the religious agenda and all of that. The Labour Party reacted to it. There's been, I think, 3 reactions. The first reaction was from Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, that said that was taken out of context. The second reaction was from Debo Onifade, Onifade, that talked about the fact that, yes, this was, put together and all of that, doctor to suit a narrative. Then this reaction we have. So there's been different reactions as regards this. But a couple of questions we should ask. Number one, people's conversations being monitored, being taken, being put out there. There are laws of the land, and as it's tried in the Constitution, Dr. Abati, you're the lawyer, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Section 37 of Nigeria Constitution talks about right to privacy, if my memory serves me right. And the fact that people have a right to be able to make their private conversations. So people taking those conversations, what does the Nigerian Communication Commission know about all of this? How did the access go to be able to take these conversations? Let's ask those questions. Also, the tape itself. We need to be able to subject it to empirical forensics, forensic that is holistic, that talks about, voice distortion, that talks about also possibilities of deep fakes and things like that. Although some media group has taken us through that and they saw that there were not too much deep fakes in it. But were the conversations distorted? What was the extent to which it was doctored? What was the bare raw file analysis of the conversation? These are questions we should ask. Leading up to the last election, there was a big talk about religion that was occasioned by the Muslim ticket of the APC. And since then, there was a lot of back and forth. Yes, it is not right for leaders to pitch along religious stance because, yes, every politician uses the sentiment of religion and ethnic bias. But the truth is, it doesn't make it right. For us to be able to build a country, we need to build a country of holistic competence and speak more about what our leaders can do for us and the capacity they have to be able to execute the things they have written in their manifesto. Because when you look, all of us that bicker about religion and bias and ethnic bias in politics, we forget that poverty does not know tribe. Poverty does not select and say, oh, you are an Hausa man. Because you're an Hausa man, I will not come your way. You are a Yoruba man. Because you're a Yoruba man, or you're a Christian or Muslim, I will not come your way. Poverty is as a result of bad leadership. Darren Osamoglu wrote in his book, Why Nations Fail. He said nations fail because their leaders make them fail. Pure and simple. The failure of Nigeria is a reflection of leadership. What is poverty? Lack. What causes lack? Unequitable distribution of resource. The clear analogy is some have food they cannot eat. Some can eat but have no food. Some can eat but they have no food. But some have food. And that's the clear problem of poverty. So those are the things that bind all of us. Nigeria has become a country where the vast population is united in poverty. The bigger conversation, rather than the ethnic and the religious bickering, is the conversation about how we can remove poverty from our lives. Because it's actually empirically proven you can bring people out of poverty when you do the right things as regards governance. So I think that's the bulk of the conversation. And going forward, we would like to talk to political surrogates and spokespersons. It is not time to overheat the polity. Because in all of this, we've also had very, very tough incendiary statements here and there. And all sorts of political spin going on. And the political spin will involve deepfakes. So when people started talking about deepfakes, I wasn't surprised because I remember on this same table on What's Trending, I told Oji that deepfakes will herald our political process. I was proven right. They will use all sorts of means to get an advantage. But the question is, does it take away the pain and suffering of what is happening to Nigerians? So those are the things we should look. We are all united one way or the other in poverty. We are all united in the effect of inflation, both rich and poor.
Of his telephone conversation between the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and the father in the Lord of the Winners Chapel, Bishop David Oyedepo. One of the things that will remain to be done will be, since the Labour Party, some spokespersons for the Labour Party insist that they know the persons who leaked the audio, right? The thing to do, if they know those persons, is in fact to commence legal action against them. Because it is your right to privacy of memos, of correspondence, of your house, of telephone conversation, is a fundamental right, guaranteed not just in the Constitution. Other laws, subsidiary laws, even the Child Rights Act, even Section 14 of the Freedom of Information Act of 2015, even consumer protection legislation, and even the guidelines on data protection and privacy in Nigeria, protect you from your conversation from being leaked. The only circumstance in which your conversation can be, made available, it will be under a legal proceeding, and there will be a proper application. But for somebody to just take your telephone conversation and be distributing it all over the place, whether it is doctored or not, once the intent is to embarrass you and expose you to ridicule in the eyes of right-thinking members of society, then of course you can act. And I think that Mr. Peter Obi should not shy away from taking action against those persons who may have leaked the conversation if he knows them. Because one of his spokespersons has said, oh, maybe there's a conspiracy of the Nigerian Communications Commission in this regard. So that's why the matter should be investigated. Because if telephone conversations are routinely leaked, you will blow up the country. There are some conversations you have on phone. It may not be something political or religious. There are certain conversations that able-bodied men have on phone that could cause crisis. No, that's why everybody should be careful.
Ruben, you are very interested in this protection of this right.
It sounds funny, but
that's how it goes.
That's how much of a threat it could become to society.
Yeah. I mean, very well said, Dr. Abati. And like I said before concerning this, I think a total forensic examination should be done as regards, the conversation and everything that happened. Like I said before, prior to this time, it's political season. You will have a lot of AI manipulated, doctored materials and all of that. People will cut conversation to suit their purpose. And that's why I said in the forensic examination, there should be a check for voice distortions. People would be able to cut and paste and things like that and all of that, like the allegation the Labour Party made. But the APC is saying otherwise, that, oh, it's a reflection of who the person is, blah, 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 and all of that. But I think to a very large extent, the right to private conversations is enshrined in our Constitution, Section 37.
And Obi is actually accusing the APC
and is accusing the APC. And that's why, at this point in time, we need, more investigators, forensic investigators, to be able to ascertain, and like Dr. Sabati said, probably put a legal, conversation as regards that. Because if people are not nipped in the bud, it will only continue. Yeah. And because there's a reason why it continues, because people say, oh, after the person apologizes and say, oh, let's not blow this out of proportion. But it doesn't stop the fact that the person did do it. And anybody that is in this case. But I don't know the full details of this case, so I cannot comment. And, those proof, those claims by the Labour Party will only be asserted when they have an independent forensic, examination report that is released and they point out all what happened, which can be done by forensic independent experts. Another story I would like